Blue is the color of the sea and the sky, the two most abstract and immense spaces that exist in our world. Just like the sky, blue is ungraspable. It is infinite. Blue is also the color of hope, desire, distance, longing. Blue is the color of those little flowers called forget-me-nots. Don't worry, I won't forget you. I can't forget you. The woman who loves me has eyes that sparkle blue, eyes that allow me to forget, if only for just a moment. Blue is the color of yesterday. Blue is the color of nostalgia. Blue is the color of memory. press down on the shutter of my camera. What I wish to do is capture time, forging the fixed melodies of my filmic memory of my life. A familiar melody began playing from the radio. It's Neil Young. I can't express how I feel about the song, except that it feels so desperate. Echoes of not-so-distant memories begin dancing around my mind. The chord strikes deep inside the caverns of my memory, evoking something buried within me. Something, someplace, sometime, but a thing forgotten. This memory is unlocatable. The search for lost time begins to decay. Familiar things begin to feel a long way off. So much we could have done. So much we did do. The heft of nostalgia has left a bruise on my thoughts. A bruise both black and blue, either inside or outside. It is a wound from yesterday, which I feel today. Invisible pain is often the longest to heal. A feeling both joyous and saddening. Still, the euphoria cannot be unearthed. This sentiment, this emotion, it is rootless, roaming, nomadic, wandering. So much so that I begin to question if it truly exists at all. In my search for this elusive feeling, I begin thirsting to grasp what cannot be held, what cannot be remembered. What is this phantom of the past I seek? Or perhaps a better question is, who? Is it a childhood companion? A lost lover? A vanished friend? Like a mirage, these thoughts allure me, to resurrect them, to breathe new life to them. These distant memories crave revival. Nevertheless, I can't help this feeling that I've come across a forbidden, yet seductive mind space, which will inevitably yield nothing. This place, what is it? Marcel Proust's iconic novel, The Remembrance of Things Past, has been considered by many as one of the most influential literary works of the 20th century. In the novel, Proust wrote of a writer who was overtaken by a patch of yellow in Vermeer's painting A View of Delft, just moments before his death. The writer fixed his gaze at a small patch of yellow wall within the painting, and then remarked, "That's how I ought to have written. My last books are too dry. I ought to have gone over them with a few layers of color, made my language precious in itself, just like this little patch of yellow wall." After having remarked that, the writer felt revived, became entranced in a certain optimism, until moments later he sunk down and died on the gallery floor. At the end of his life, the writer found solace in the beauty of a small, yet intricate patch of yellow wall in a painting, ending his life's journey with an optimism which carried him into the next phase of being. Is the writer forever dead? Or has he moved on to the afterlife with a renewed sense of his own being? It is impossible to say if the soul survives death. While the transition out of adolescence is nowhere near the gravity of experiencing life's inevitable end, it is still symbolically the death of one's youth. To continue to this next phase of life, one must leave behind a past which feels so deeply ingrained to our concept of self. But it is certain that what is beautiful seems so only in relation to a specific life experienced, or not, channeled into some form steeped in nostalgia of a collective past. While this does induce a strong and almost overwhelming sense of anxiety, without allowing our youth to die, it becomes quite impossible to both comprehend and learn about the truths of our soul. Many of us cling to the essence of our youth with a grasp so tight, like an addict, addicted to nostalgia. It is my belief that a well-lived youth is crowned only by its end. Only its death gives meaning, sense, and form to life as a whole. And it is precisely the end which is always arbitrary and melancholic. But after the death of youth, everything remains open. Something comes from outside, from a reality that has no connection within our world. A new question without possibility for an answer, thus interrupting everything. This intrusion does symbolize the end of youth, and yet it is the most profound ending, because a conclusion from within would be deeply impossible. When I heard Neil Young's song, I had essentially found my patch of yellow, this empathetic and precious substance wrapped elegantly within paint, or in my case, a voice. I look back on the films I made during my youth, and I think to myself, I ought to have gone over them with a few layers of color, made my story precious in itself, like coming out of the blue and into the black. Every true end is a real end, the end of a journey, And although journey and end do not make a unity and stand side by side as equals, they nevertheless coexist. The end is unthinkable and unrealizable without the road being traveled again and again. The end is not standing still, but arriving there. Not resting, but conquering a summit.